2 Mega Pops is an achievement in Bloons Tower Defense 6 where you need to complete a game of chimps using just 2 towers. Wait, that's the wrong achievement. Oh well. Let's do this today with the Glaive Lord and the Perma-Spike. So I think when it comes to a Glaive Lord setup, or an Ice Tower setup, or a Tag Shooter setup on Resort, you always want to have it in the center of this small square. I think that is something that we can all agree with. That is a very, very strong point in which they can be placed down for them to do the best that they possibly can. Now, can we place down the Spike Factory before we even need to perform any upgrades on our Boomerang Monkey? And the answer is looking questionable. No, we've got it sorted. We've got it sorted. We'll place you here so that if we are on close, it means that the balloons won't be popped over here. Probably. Is that even close enough? I'm not too sure. Coming up with strategies on the spot. You know, we'll have it so that if it's on close, it will pop camo balloons. But once we have its full arsenal of priorities, it means that we can chuck balloons. Oh no, sorry. Chuck spikes over here. I don't want to chuck balloons over here. That means they are right next door to the exit. The bad thing about relying on your Perma-Spike as your one of 2 towers for a 2TC achievement run is that if you do lose a round, all of those spikes that you've placed down all disappeared. Like the game doesn't remember what spikes you had at the end of the previous round, which is not what you call a very, very favorable thing to have. So let's see, normal gives us, well, any range as long as we're in range of a track. Close means the closest possible bit of track. Far, it's the thing with far, it's either the same as smart or it's somewhere else entirely. Because far you would think is the furthest, like the furthest point from the Spike Factory rather than like the furthest point on the track. I don't know. Do you know? Maybe you do and I don't. Can we do this though? That is the question. That is definitely a yes. Get you up to Red Hot Rains and then Glaives, because we're all sorted at the moment for our Spike Factory. We don't need the long life spikes until at least I feel like it's comfortable being at Glaive Ricochet. I wonder what's in store for Vortex for this week that begins on the 31st of May 2025. Hopefully it's not something stupid like the last Vortex we had, which was actually on this map, but it had ridiculous stats, so it felt like Elite Vortex Monkey Meadow all over again. But the top half Boomerang thrives on rounds like this, where there's just a huge number of balloons stacked up here. Okay, round 28 lead balloons, not a problem whatsoever. You always want to go with Red Hot Rains when it comes to a Boomerang paired with another tower 2 tower chimps run. Can the 202 Spike Factory solo round 33? The answer is what you would call a resounding yes. Back in the day when the Glaive Lord was below 32,000, or maybe it was 32,400, I don't know now, but I think it was definitely below 32,000 at one point on chimps mode. You would get Glaive Lord first, but because of how the round's structured, by the time you have the money for Perma-Spike, after you have yourself the more Glaives and the Deadly Spikes for their respective cross-pathing, you're presented with a huge number of rainbows that you need to try and pop, camo rainbows, and Deadly Spikes is not cutting out for it, even with the buff that is received so that it goes through 3 layers rather than 2. Like, I think you definitely need Perma-Spike first, before you even consider the idea of getting yourself a Glaive Lord first. I don't know, maybe someone can test it, but I would feel safer if I get Perma-Spike first. High damage spikes become almost permanent. I'm glad the description has changed, but permas means permanent. How dare you. Almost Perma-Spike. That would be a bet. No, that would actually be even worse. But not quite eternal spikes, Spike Factory. Sort of like this, but with many more rainbows. Now, some people like it when I have a story to present, and I know that others would rather me just get on with the gameplay and just talk about what's going on here, but I think you can see for yourself that the situation is under control. I don't really have to explain what's going on at the moment. This is dealing with the huge hordes of ceramics and anything below, and this is dealing with anything that is a middle class balloon or a camo balloon. So here's a little story that I have you for today. So on the day of recording this, I am a Pokemon TCG collector. I like to collect as many cards as I can of the new modern sets, and unfortunately in this day of age, if are other people out there who are watching this video who also collects Pokemon cards, you know how difficult it is at the moment on trying to actually get anything new, because the brands or the products that keeps coming, like being announced and stuff like that, being sent to the store, shown that it's available for about 2 seconds or so before the website crashes and it's just out of stock. Even though companies maintain that they're doing everything that they can to prevent like bots and scalpers from being able to get stuff, honestly, I don't think companies are really doing enough, if not anything at all, in order to prevent scalpers, which is horrible. And I think people can attest to that to any kind of community. Like, let's say when the PlayStation 5 originally released, people, and also the Nintendo Wii, like that really OG console now, that's really old console that's like over 20 years old, like that makes you feel old, knowing that the Nintendo Wii is multiple decades old. Like, I remembered when I first got myself a Nintendo Wii, I should actually buy one off eBay for an increased price. Thank you, Mum, for that. But anyways, besides the point, scalpers are the bane of any kind of community, regardless of what kind of intentions that you have behind the hiking of prices. It ruins it for everybody else aside from yourself, who does the scalping, who decides, I bought it at £50, but I'm going to sell it at £150. I have no interest in this product when it comes to the product itself. The only thing that I have with the product that I have any interest in is the money. And unfortunately, with the Pokemon TCG, they do not print enough of anything in order to like meet demand and all that sort of stuff. Like, it's such a popular thing at the moment. And for the past like 4 sets, they keep constantly running out of products on their shelves in local stores. And unfortunately nowadays, the only place I can actually get anything is from local stores. Like any kind of online TCG store. Yeah, this is around that I was really concerned about not having Perma-Spike or Glaive Lord for. It's just because of the sheer amount of PS required. But scalpers are just, I don't know how to really describe them without like saying an absolutely horrible word about them, but they're just a parasite among any kind of community. Regardless of what kind of community you're in, there could be a definite person out there who wants to exploit a shortage of products and put it at a much higher price. Honestly, I don't know what to say about them. It just makes it so that those who have an interest in the hobby have a much harder time getting what they want, because some parasite decides that they only want the product for money, and they buy in massive bulks and stores, regardless if they have a advertised limit on products. I don't think really they care. They only care about the money at the end of the day, rather than, you know, the authenticity of the person who is buying it and then opening it. Or I get that people actually want to keep sealed products. That's completely fine, because you're still preserving the product for what it is, rather than handing it on to another person and you're receiving another £100 over nothing at the end of the day. I just hate scalpers. I think that they are some of the worst kind of people in existence. And some people kind of justify it's like, well, some people need to meet their ends and be able to actually provide food for their family. But if that is the avenue that you are resorting to in order to try and put food on the table, then I think in the first place, you really ought to pursue something else for those endeavors, rather than pursuing an expensive hobby. Nowadays, it is very expensive, especially if you want a master set or something, which is like one of every single card in every single edition. I'm not saying like get one of every single card of every single edition in every single language. Like, that's going above and beyond, like getting one of everything in English, French, German, Italian, Korean, Japanese, Chinese, etc. There are some Chinese exclusive cards as well. I think there's a Mew EX that came out really recently that is an EX that is only exclusive in the Chinese language. And it looks pretty cool as well. Anyway, story over, rant over. We all hate scalpers, and I'm not too sure what to say if you are watching this right now and if you think that scalping is a good thing that benefits everybody. It only benefits the scalper, not anybody with a genuine interest in the hobby. Round 62, and we have ourselves a round in which the first set of fortified Moabs are going to appear. Sometimes the fortified Moabs on this round are a bigger threat than the BFB that spawned 2 rounds earlier because of the amount of RBE compacted into this sort of target going at this speed. There we go, and that should do it. We're just keeping the Perma-Spike on smart, so it's always positioning its spikes across here, allowing the Boomerang to do the maximum possible damage they can possibly can in order to ensure that less spikes are used up in order to be able to do this in. Yellow balloons, no thank you. Here they come, just like that. Some of these rounds are going to be particularly long because we're waiting for the Merle class balloons to reach this point of the track. The point of a track in which they will have no chances of survival. I mean, we could speed this up by going on close just to save us a few seconds here and there. Okay, so 1 BFB down. 2 BFBs down. We'll go back onto smart so that we don't have to wait for those BFBs to orbit around the track. Luckily, as I was lining up to get some Destined Rivals products, everybody around the area was pretty modest about their approach to like Pokemon cards and all that. We all kind of had like the same viewpoint. And it's like, okay, if one person is in the queue, then obviously we wait behind that person. And everybody kind of knows the golden rule there. You don't buy too many of the same thing, otherwise others will not be able to buy it. Later on, other people will not be able to enjoy the products as much as I would like to buy as many cards as I would financially be able to comfortably. Obviously, there's got to be some limits, obviously, when it comes to a hobby. Otherwise, you kind of can't afford food at the end of the day, and that's even more important than a hobby that involves opening packets of cards. Although for some people the obsession is just too great. But life is a balance between hard work and enjoying yourself. But there are a few out there that can say that their job is what they thoroughly enjoy, which is the best of both worlds. Getting money for all of your hard work and then also enjoying what you're doing. You know, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. When all is said and done, none shall survive. 10k left until the Glaive Lord. Camo, fortified, regrow, ceramics. How many words can you fit into a single sentence to describe every feature of a balloon? Oh yeah, you put the word super in there after round 80. In the past, you'll be able to have both tier 5s, but actually I think the price nerf to the Glaive Lord was justifiable because honestly, it is a pretty goated tower considering all things. Like, I can't do what the other 2 boomerangs can, which is a 23 megapops when he gets around 140. It can't do that because it really struggles against the fortified bad, and definitely as well, it struggles against around 119. It can't do that round. And especially can't do around 140. 7 BFBs. It looks like only 3, but the black 2 supposed only BFBs are actually 3 BFBs compacted which makes it seem very devious. Luckily, we can keep chipping away at them, gradually cracking open that crab shell and into the meat of the matter. There we go. That gets rid of that, that gets rid of that, and this gets rid of that. Okay, round 76 is going to be soloed by the Glaive Lord. Yeah, on this map in particular, aside from round 100, I think this is pretty much game, set, and match when it comes to this scenario. Like, there's nothing really that can stop us now with this combination. To get the 2TC scenario. T spelled T-E-A. And the C stands for cup, so 2 teacups, please. In some scenarios, you really want to show your round 79, but when you have a particular tower, like let's say Glaive Lord or Spirit of the Forest or anything else that has a huge amount of PS, or even just more glaives, honestly, you don't really need to show it because that round is kind of self-defined. Self-defined in what you're doing. Fortified BFBs, absolutely no problem whatsoever here. Yeah, this is such a powerful combination as long as you're on a appropriate map. Because so far, the Glaive Lord and Perma-Spike has only been done on resorts, naturally, cubism, 4 circles, logs, and scrapyard and spar pits as well. Someone's also done icicle impale with Perma-Spike. That would be a pretty interesting one to do in the future. Now, this is a very alien scenario so far. We have not died to yellow balloons. Who are you? And what have you done with flare balloons? Round 90. Can the Glaive Lord solo these DDTs? And the answer is... oh yes, actually. I was about to say no, because that last DDT looks like it was going to punch her through. Yeah, 91's just being absolutely shredded. One combination that I would love to see have done if it still had a particular feature when it comes to interacting with camo balloons is the balloon solver and the final harmonic combination. But unfortunately, the globs of glue that the balloon solver drops on the track nowadays can no longer affect camo balloons unless, of course, the balloon solver has camo detection. And because of the final harmonic's interaction with damage over time effects, it means that a balloon solver does a massive amount of damage to the bad. So if you just, I don't know, just tuck in a submersion support somewhere so nobody will be able to see it. If you see a submersion support on the screen, you're just hallucinating. If you see a submarine with 0, that also means you're hallucinating. There's no such thing as a submarine. But I tell you what, that starts with subscribe. If you're liking what you are seeing right now and you'd like to see more videos like this in the future, then please be sure to hit that subscribe button along with liking and commenting on the video. 1 like and 1 comment and 1 subscribe will mean that I die to a yellow balloon 1 less time throughout my entire time as an individual. Whether if it is playing balloons for a video or just playing it in my spare time. And if this is your first video ever, then thank you very much for taking the time to watch the video. I'm very appreciative of your time, but also your attention as we embark on these adventures of completing the 2TC achievement with the most amount of combinations I can possibly muster. I think my proudest one that I've ever done, and I say there's a lot on my videos, but I'm really proud of it, and I'm the only person to have done it, is the Crossbow Master and Ultra Boost 2 Tower Chimps combination. Round 99 was so horrible. And I was actually the first one to do a 2TC with the Ultra Boost with a primary tower paired with it. And I think Glaive Lord was second actually, but I would honestly recommend Glaive Lord because it's you can have an easier time with a Glaive Lord, and I don't think the Crossbow Master with Ultra Boost is at all possible nowadays because of the decreased attack speed, which is just as important as receiving a damage buff, because it's like, well, how many times can you perform a critical hit, or how many times can I impact a particular target so that my damage is more distributed out, rather than, let's say, it being something that is like I'm damaging certain targets, but I'm not able to damage every target. Also, that was a lot of balloons that impacted those perma-spikes, but this should actually be a more reasonable route, believe it or not, just because of the orbiting glaive effects. And I think this has honestly been pierce cap nowadays. Like, this is not as powerful as it used to be, the orbiting glaives. Unless, of course, it's the main attack that's not as powerful, but one of the two is not as powerful nowadays, whereas the other one is a bit more powerful. Not too sure what to say about that. Just because of the RBE per target, we're not going to have a troubling time here. Okay, round 99. Fortified DETs will make it to the end, but we do have this Great Wall over here. And no, not the Great Wall that you're thinking of. We'll put you to close first so that these can damage the bad. Okay, you got your fins bandaged. I wonder if you're going to get your tails bandaged, which is pretty good. Oh, pretty nice indeed. Good. We'll put you on far as the same as smart on this occasion. Of course, it depends on where you put it. Sometimes you could have like a pixel to the right or pixel to the left, and far would have a completely different interaction altogether, which I don't understand, but hey ho. If you have an answer as to what far actually does and how you can manipulate the placement of the spike factory so that you can actually place it down in a spot where you would want far to go in a particular spot, then please do let me know, because I do not know. There we go, everybody. That is round 100. We did get a few regrows that happened there, which is why our total damage is over 2,042,693, etc. Stuff like that. But this is a 2TC scenario where you almost have 100k saved, which is pretty good. I think the one that was cheaper than this is Lord of the Abyss with Perma-Spike. And I think that one was also deathless as well. Lord of the Abyss is so cool. Glaive Lord and Perma-Spike 2TC done. Yes, it's on Resort, but I honestly find this map to be one of the easiest maps to do a 2TC with. Logs as well is very good, and Spar Pits is also up there nowadays. And I think with certain towers it's even easier than logs because of how much space your amphibious tower covers for the map. Thank you all so much for watching, everybody. Please let me know what you thought of the video down in the comment sections below. And let me know of a particular combination you'd like to see me do next that I have not yet done on the channel. There are still many more combinations out there. I've not done like... I don't think I've done like a Beast Handler combination just because you can only get up to a tier 4. I tried Giant Condor with Dark Champion once and that didn't go very well. I kept dying on round 76 because my my Dark Knight kept interfering with everything that was going on. He kept just getting more regrows, whereas you could just leave it with a Condor to deal with all of the ceramics. Thank you all so much for watching, everybody, and take care of yourselves.